Alright, tell us your name and what you do with NASA.
My name is Matthew Morgan. I'm one of the NASA officials. I actually have two hats. One, I'm the Chief of Flagging Communications. I'm responsible for training all of our border workers, getting them ready to work for us on a regular volunteer basis, training them how to handle the flags and respond to incidents and things like that. When I'm not doing that, I work up in race control. I'm responsible for making sure the sessions go out on time, making sure the appropriate flags are displayed, making sure we end on time, and I respond to any incidents that occur while on track.
What is your favorite thing about doing this event at Road Atlanta?
It's one of my favorite tracks. This is an absolutely fantastic track to drive on. It's challenging, it's fun, and no matter how many times you race here, it's always something new. It's always something more that you can learn. In addition, I have several good friends that work here on a regular basis, so I get to see them fairly regularly. And I just really like facilities here. I really like coming to this track and actually getting to experience not just one track, but everything else too.
How long have you been with NASA?
I've been volunteering for NASA for 7 years now.
Let's see here. What kind of car are you driving today?
Today I'm driving a Chevrolet Camaro. This race is in our Camaro Mustang Challenge. This is a specific group geared towards the slightly modified Camaros, Mustangs, and Pontiacs. That they're allowed a few upgrades as far as suspension and things like that. We try and keep the engine relatively stock. We try and keep horsepower levels and costs in check.
Are you able to hear?
Huh?
Are you able to hear
I
them?
think so, yeah.
Okay. What other cars do you have? Do you have multiple, or do you in different classes? Can you give us an idea on some of that?
I do actually have another car that I race on a regular basis. It's a 1995 Volkswagen Jetta. I race it in the German Touring Series, which is a group specifically set up for German market cars. BMWs, Volkswagens, Porsches, things like that. We race in the middle group of that race series. It's all done based on horsepower to weight, and you can do anything you want to the car, just so long as you fall into a certain guideline for horsepower. So our Volkswagen slots in quite nicely. Raced that for 3 years. In the past 2 years, we finished second in the championship.
Now, obviously, there are several different car clubs and car associations. Why are you with NASA, and what do you like the most about NASA?
One of my favorite things about NASA is, whether it's your first time or your 50th time, you have a friend here. You can come up and ask anybody anything, and whether it's an official or another event participant, they're very friendly. They're happy to help you out if you need to borrow a tool, if you need to borrow a spare part. They're happy to give it to you. It's just, we welcome everybody. You come here, and everybody's always very friendly.
What would you recommend to fans and tell them, actually not that, what would you tell fans to expect when they're here?
Have fun. Expect to get very tired, and expect to have probably the most fun you've had in a long, long time. Everybody who I've talked to that goes away from here for the first event is ready to be here, probably doesn't stop training for weeks.
So that's fans and people who actually drive?
Absolutely. We'll get people that come out and watch some of our more interesting races. We have endurance races, 3-hour races, 8-hour races. We'll have people that come out and watch that. We'll have people that like to come out and watch our year-end championship races. We have a special race held once a year that's specifically for E30 BMWs. It's a spec series, and we usually get a very large field, 30, 40 cars for that. And we always like to throw a wrinkle into that race, and people like to come watch and see what we're planning for them.
Now, how many different race series are going on in one season of NASA? Or how many championships?
We actually have quite a few. We have everything from Honda Challenge, which is specifically geared towards Hondas and Acuras. We have obviously the Camaro Mustang Challenge. We have American Iron, which is geared, again, for the same Mustangs and Camaros, but for a little more modifications. We have the German Series. We have performance touring for cars that don't fit into any other category. We have quite a few, so there's always something for everybody.
How many races a year do you participate in?
We generally do 11 or 12 events a year, and I come to all of them.
what else can you tell us about the driving experience and working with NASA? Is there anything else that we're missing that you want us to mention?
One of my favorite things is when people come out for their first time, if they're working or if they're driving or whatever, if they have any questions, there's always somebody there to help them, to show them what to do, to show them where they need to be. We always make sure that people are taken care of. If you're a volunteer, we make sure that you get lunch, make sure that you get somebody to train you or teach you. We can put you up in hotels, you can the track. There's something for everybody here. It's sort of a big group, and we're all just a big family.
Could you kind of show us around the car a little bit?
As much as I can. This is my first event actually driving this car. Obviously, as you can see, the interior has been stripped out. We have to have obviously our safety gear, our roll cage, our safety harnesses. We have race seats. And every car that we run with, we have to have a electrical ignition interrupt switch, so that if something does happen to the car, we can interrupt the fuel pump, we can interrupt any of the electricals. We have to have onboard fire suppression. Many of the cars you see will be set up with data acquisition systems, so they can see what their lap times are, where they can go faster. This particular car it's got relatively minor modifications to it from your typical street car. In fact, the guy who owns this car picked it up from an auto auction for $1,000. They got ready to race. So you can get these out on track relatively cheap. He hasn't done very much to the motor. He's only slight modifications to the suspension and to the brakes.
What about tires? Do you go through a lot of tires?
In this specific class, they run what's called a spec tire. Everybody has to run the same brand and same model of tire, and in some classes they even have to run the same size. This particular series runs the Toyo brand tire. In the past it was the Toyo RA1s. I believe they've gone to a new model, the R888s, but every car that runs in the series has to run these particular tires. Some series are given a choice, and so you end up with some good battles between Hoosier tires and Toyo tires or BF Goodrich, and it really makes for a very interesting group of racing.
Okay.
So basically there's a class in here for everyone with a different income level. So you don't have to have the fast Ferraris. You can bring out something that you bought at an auction and make it, with bare minimum, be able to race.
Absolutely. I'm a perfect example of it. I'm a teacher, so I don't have a lot of extra income, and the Jetta that I run is very cheap to run. We usually have to pay for 20 gallons of gasoline for a weekend. We'll get 4 or 5 events out of a set of brakes, 4 or 5 events out of a set of tires, and it's not very expensive for us to run the car at all.
Are most of the drivers, do they do their own work on the car, or do they have somebody that helps them? Or?
It actually varies. We have a lot of drivers who own their own shops, and so they obviously will work on their cars, and other drivers who might not be so mechanically inclined will bring the car to the shops and have them work on it. And it's nice to do that, because you know the guy who's working on the car, you know he's not going to tell you the car needs something when it doesn't. And for the most part, yeah, we're all taking care of each other.
Okay.
Very good. I'm good.